talk now to Senator Mike Crapo, Republican of Idaho. And Senator, it's nice to have you on here. Let's just get straight to it. You know, time's a wasting on Capitol Hill. Still no vote on the debt reduction deal to avoid this government default. What are you hearing, sir?
I'm hearing that there is a tremendous amount of dissatisfaction with the deal that was negotiated on both sides. On the Republican side, there's a significant concern being raised about the question of whether taxes are truly off the table. And I think that Speaker Boehner is right. The way this was structured is taxes are off the table, although there are still those, including President Obama, who are saying that he thinks there's a way to wrench taxes back into the deal later on. And that's raising concerns among Republicans. I think all in all, though, there is a growing sense that this is a first step, not necessarily the best step and not the only step, but it's an important first step to changing the paradigm in Washington from how much do we raise taxes and how much do we spend to how much deficit reduction can we achieve. And this is, I think, true deficit reduction.
Senator Crapo, I want to walk our viewers through how this thing would work in order to raise the debt limit and prevent defaults. So just let me walk through this. First of all, Congress, the first number people need to know is $917 billion. Congress would agree to that number in terms of immediate spending cuts, and then a six-person committee, 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, would then find a way to save an even bigger chunk of change, that chunk being $1.5 trillion. Should the committee not reach an agreement there, or should Congress reject their proposal, which, you know, could very well happen, Congress would then be required to pass a balanced budget amendment, or automatic spending cuts would kick in, cuts largely taken from the military. And we've been talking a little bit about these DOD cuts. And, Senator, my question to you is, you know, there seems to be concern really on both sides, to echo what Joe John was saying, but specifically on your side, about holding up the military budget as a sort of backstop. Do you think that's a wise idea?
No, I personally would have done it differently. In fact, the way it works out, just as you've said, is that the final backstop, the final sequester, if the committee doesn't work, is that there will be equal cuts coming from both defense and non-defense spending.
Yes, half and half.
Half and half. And many of us, myself included, feel that that's the wrong balance. I think, however, that that is one of the reasons why the pressure will be on for this committee to deliver. And I don't agree with those who say that the committee will necessarily turn to tax increases. I don't see any way that the House of Representatives will approve a tax increase coming out of this committee. And so the reality is this committee is going to have to go slog it through the hard work, like many of us on some of the other committees that have worked on this have done, and find the necessarily difficult but important ways to achieve those spending reductions. I think they will be real. The legislation will make them real. And that's why I think this plan truly represents about a $3 trillion difference in our fiscal policy.
Well, you know a thing or two about being on committees. You've been on the Gang of Six, which makes you one of the very few Republicans who has essentially agreed to those higher revenues to bring down the debt. Would you like a seat, if you could have one, on this 6-member committee that is set to continue the negotiating on this round 2 of the debt reduction? Would you want that?
Well, you know, I served on the President's Fiscal Commission and then on the Gang of Six as it moved forward, and I've wondered myself. I honestly don't know the answer to that question as to whether I would really love the opportunity or not to serve on this committee. But I will tell you, what the Gang of Six did was we worked out a solution, as you indicated. We worked out a way where we could actually cut tax rates, reduce taxes, flatten the tax code, and generate a tremendous amount of new revenue by growing the economy. And I actually think that's the way most Americans would support putting revenue into the equation.
Senator Mike Crapo, I guess that's a maybe yes, maybe no on the sitting
That's
on the
right.
next committee. Thank you so much, sir. Best of luck to you. We'll all be watching what's happening there in Washington. You know,